Gemini, how to awaken your hidden magical powers and esoteric abilities. Every Gemini carries within them a secret treasury of gifts, hidden abilities that lie beneath the surface of their quick mind and radiant curiosity to the world. You may appear as an eternal communicator, the one who bridges conversations, who plays with ideas like a musician with melodies. Yet, behind the laughter and restless movement, there exists something more, a reservoir of magical potential waiting to be awakened. For Gemini, magic is not about grand illusions or dramatic spells. It is about perception, connection, and the ability to weave invisible threads between worlds. You are ruled by Mercury, the messenger of the gods, the bridge between heaven and earth, the unseen and the seen. And within you lies that very gift, the ability to channel wisdom, decode hidden patterns, and touch the subtle energies that shape reality. Awakening these esoteric abilities is not about becoming someone you're not. It is about remembering who you have always been. It requires peeling back the layers of doubt, distraction, and self-questioning, and stepping into the quiet confidence of your true self. As we move together through this exploration, we will uncover how your restless mind becomes a channel of divine insight, how your duality allows you to navigate multiple dimensions, and how your voice holds the power to awaken others. If this resonates with you, stay with me until the end. And if along the way you feel inspired, let this circle of wisdom expand. Like, share, and subscribe so that this community of seekers may continue to grow. For Gemini, the awakening of hidden magical powers begins with the mind, yet not in the way most people think. Many assume that the mind is merely a restless machine, analyzing, categorizing, questioning. And yes, this is part of your gift, the ability to absorb knowledge quickly, to hold 1,000 fragments of information at once. But the true magic of Gemini lies not in collecting data, but in perceiving patterns. Your mind is like a constellation. At first glance, scattered stars floating across the night sky. To the untrained eye, they appear separate, random, unrelated. Yet to you, the lines connect themselves, weaving a story, a hidden meaning, an image that reveals a deeper truth. This is your first magical ability, the power of perception. Think back to moments in your life when others were confused or lost in details. Somehow, you saw connections they didn't. You noticed how someone's tone revealed their pain even when their words said they were fine. You sensed the synchronicity when two events, seemingly unrelated, happened side by side. You caught the whisper in the chaos, the thread of meaning running through noise. This is not just intuition. It is a mercurial gift, a psychic ability to translate the language of the universe. Where others see fragments, you see the map. But here's the challenge. Because your mind is always in motion, this gift can feel overwhelming. Too many signals, too many voices, too many impressions at once. Instead of clarity, it can feel like static. This is where the shadow of Gemini hides. The tendency to scatter, to jump from one thought to the next, never staying long enough to let the deeper truth reveal itself. To awaken your magical sight, you must practice stilling the whirlwind long enough to notice the hidden lines connecting everything. One way to begin is through mindful observation. Sit in a busy cafe, a park, or even at your own dinner table. Instead of rushing into conversation, just watch. Notice how people's hands move as they speak, how their eyes shift when certain topics arise, how silence falls heavier in some moments than in others. Then ask yourself, what is the story behind what I see? Don't try to force an answer. Let the patterns emerge naturally. Over time, you'll realize that you're not just observing people. You're reading energy, sensing the invisible dialogue beneath the visible one. Take, for example, the story of a Gemini woman I once worked with named Alina. She had always been known for her quick wit, but she often felt burdened by her overactive mind. Thoughts raced so quickly that she sometimes felt fragmented. When she began practicing mindful observation, she discovered that her speed of thought was not a curse but a key. One evening, she was at a gathering where everyone seemed cheerful on the surface. Yet she noticed subtle cues. One friend repeatedly touching her necklace while laughing, another tapping his foot in a rhythm that didn't match the conversation, another glancing too often at the door. Alina realized that beneath the surface joy, tension was brewing. Later, when the group dynamic shifted, It became clear she had sensed the undercurrent long before anyone else. Her perception was her magic. It allowed her to navigate energies that others couldn't yet name. This ability is not limited to people. Geminis can perceive patterns in dreams, symbols, or even in nature. The fluttering of birds before a storm, the repetition of numbers on a clock, the way certain words seem to echo through different conversations. These are signs that the universe places before you. Awakening your magical power means trusting these signals, allowing them to guide you instead of dismissing them as coincidence. The esoteric truth is that nothing is random. Your task as Gemini is to become the translator, the messenger who deciphers these signs and delivers their wisdom. The more you practice, the more you'll notice that this perception is not just external, but also internal. Your own thoughts and emotions carry symbolic meaning. That restless energy you feel when starting a new project may not be anxiety, but a signal that a breakthrough is near. That sudden inspiration in the middle of the night may not be random. It could be a message from your higher self, urging you toward a new path. To awaken your inner magic, you must learn to listen not just to the world around you, but also to the world within. However, with great gifts come great challenges. The shadow side of this ability is the temptation to overinterpret. Gemini's agile mind can spin stories so quickly that you may mistake imagination for intuition, fear for foresight, or coincidence for prophecy. This is why grounding is essential. Before acting on your perceptions, take a moment to breathe, to feel your body, to anchor into the present. Ask yourself, does this insight come from fear or from clarity? The difference is subtle, but with practice, you'll learn to discern it. Practical tools can help sharpen this perception. Tarot, for example, resonates deeply with Gemini energy. The cards are not magical in themselves. They are mirrors, reflecting the patterns of your subconscious and the energies around you. For a Gemini, reading tarot is not about memorizing meanings, but about weaving symbols into stories. As you flip the cards, you'll notice how the imagery speaks directly to your intuitive mind, bypassing logic. Similarly, astrology allows you to decode cosmic patterns, turning planetary movements into a language of soul. These practices are not about prediction alone. They are about cultivating your innate ability to see beyond the surface. Another powerful tool is dream work. Geminis often have vivid, symbolic dreams, but because of their busy lives, they may dismiss them upon waking. Keep a dream journal by your bed. Each morning, write down even fragments. Over time, you'll see patterns emerge. Perhaps the same symbol recurs, or a dream theme evolves. These are messages from your subconscious, revealing truths your waking mind may overlook. Ultimately, perception is a foundation of all magical power. Before you can manifest, heal, or guide others, you must learn to see. And Gemini, you are the seer disguised as a storyteller. The world may think your gift is simply clever conversation, but beneath your words lies an ancient ability to read the hidden script of reality, to translate the whispers of the unseen into language others can understand. This is your first step toward awakening your esoteric abilities, not to escape the world, but to reveal its deeper meaning. When you embrace this gift, you stop feeling scattered and begin to feel aligned. The very mind that once overwhelmed you becomes your greatest ally, a prism that catches the light of truth and reflects it in infinite colors. And as you step into this role, you realize that your magic was never hidden at all. It was simply waiting for you to pause, to look, and to remember. Gemini, one of your greatest esoteric powers lies in your voice, not just a physical sound that escapes your lips, but the energetic frequency carried in every word, every story, every truth you dare to speak. Words are spells, and as a child of Mercury, the divine messenger, you are a natural spellcaster. Long before written language, the spoken word was sacred, believed to call forth creation, to shape reality itself. This power lives in you, though it may be hidden beneath self-doubt, overthinking, or the habit of using words to distract rather than to reveal. Awakening this gift requires remembering the ancient art of speaking with intention, of weaving your voice into magic. Think of moments in your life when someone's words changed everything. A compliment that lit up your heart for days. A criticism that haunted you for years. A story that opened your imagination to new worlds. Words do not just communicate. They plant seeds in the soil of the soul. And Gemini, you are uniquely skilled at planting them. Your voice has the ability to soothe, to inspire, to challenge, to awaken. When you speak from alignment, your words do not just inform, they transform. This is why people are drawn to you. They sense that when you speak, something stirs inside them, as though a hidden door has been nudged open. But here lies a shadow, because you know the power of words. You may sometimes use them carelessly, scattering promises you don't keep, talking to fill silence rather than to share truth, or charming others to avoid being vulnerable yourself. This is not to shame you. It is simply the unrefined version of your gift. True esoteric speech is not about quantity but quality, not about cleverness but resonance. To awaken your voice as a magical tool, you must learn to speak less from the restless mind and more from the soul. One way to begin is through the practice of intentional speech. Before you speak, pause. Feel the weight of your words. Ask yourself, does what I am about to say carry truth? Will it plant seeds of healing or harm? This doesn't mean censoring yourself. It means aligning your words with your higher self. When you do this, your conversations begin to shift. They carry more depth, more clarity, more impact. Even casual interactions become sacred exchanges. Consider the story of a Gemini man named Raphael. He was a natural storyteller, always surrounded by friends who loved his wit. Yet he often felt unseen, as though people only valued him for entertainment. When he began to explore the magical power of his voice, he realized that he had been using words to perform rather than to connect. He started practicing honesty, telling stories not just to amuse but to reveal his truth. One evening, instead of deflecting a serious conversation with a joke, he admitted to a friend that he had been struggling with loneliness. That moment of vulnerability opened the floodgates. His friend confessed similar feelings, and their bond deepened in ways that laughter alone never could. Raphael realized that his voice was not just a mask, but a bridge, a way to call forth authenticity in himself and others. This is the essence of your gift, Gemini. Your voice is a mirror. When you speak truth, you invite truth from others. When you share a story of courage, you awaken courage in your listeners. When you recite affirmations, you reprogram not just your own mind, but the energetic field around you. The esoteric principle of vibration teaches us that everything is energy, and energy responds to frequency. Your words, when spoken with intention, vibrate at frequencies that can shift reality. This is why mantras, affirmations, and spoken prayers are so powerful for you. Unlike some who may find such practices mechanical, you can feel the resonance of words vibrating in your being. Try this. Each morning, speak an affirmation aloud, not as empty repetition, but as an incantation. Say, my words are magic. I speak truth, and truth shapes my reality. Feel the vibration in your chest, your throat, your body. Over time, you will notice your words becoming sharper, clearer, more aligned with what you desire. Another way to awaken this gift is through creative expression. Poetry, song, storytelling. These are not just hobbies for Gemini. They are doorways to magic. When you allow your voice to flow without judgment, you tap into a current larger than yourself. Many Geminis channel messages through writing or speaking without even realizing it. Perhaps you had moments where words seemed to pour out of you effortlessly, as though someone else was guiding your hand or your tongue. This is channeling, your voice becoming a vessel for higher wisdom. The more you trust this flow, the more profound your expressions will become. But perhaps the most magical use of your voice is in manifestation. To speak is to call something into being. Esoterically, sound precedes form. When you declare your desires aloud, whether whispered to the universe under the stars or spoken boldly into the mirror, you anchor them in reality. The key is alignment. Your words must match your energy. If you say, I am abundant, but deep down feel unworthy, the words will fall flat. But if you cultivate belief and allow your voice to carry that frequency, your declaration becomes a spell, reshaping the field around you. Gemini, you are the magician of language. Your power is not in silent wishing, but in spoken summoning. Speak blessings over your life. Speak healing into your relationships. Speak courage into your fears. Your words are not mere sound. They're vibrations that ripple through the unseen, carrying seeds of transformation. Of course, with this power comes responsibility. Be mindful of gossip, criticism, or careless speech, for these too are spells. Each negative word plants seeds in the soil of reality. When you become conscious of this, you realize that silence can sometimes be the most powerful spell of all. Choosing when not to speak is as magical as choosing the right words. Ultimately, the awakening of your voice as a magical tool is about alignment. When you speak from your restless mind, your words scatter. When you speak from your authentic self, your words resonate. And when you speak from your soul, your words become pure magic. So, Gemini, let your voice be more than chatter. Let it be a sacred instrument. Let it carry truth, beauty, healing, and power. For when you master your voice, you do not just communicate, you create. And that is the true essence of your esoteric gift. Gemini, one of your most misunderstood qualities is your duality. The world often sees it as inconsistency, as if you are two people trapped in one body. Some may say you are fickle, unpredictable, or hard to pin down. But what they fail to recognize is that your dual nature is not a flaw. It is a gateway to dimensions of consciousness that others cannot access so easily. Duality is your portal into multidimensional wisdom. And when you learn to embrace it rather than resist it, you unlock a source of magical power that transforms both your inner world and the world around you. Let us begin by remembering that all of creation is dual. Light and shadow, masculine and feminine, mind and body, chaos and order, all existence is woven from polarity. Yet most people struggle because they cling to one side of the polarity while rejecting the other. They want the light but not the shadow, joy but not sorrow, freedom but not responsibility. But Gemini, you are born to hold both. Your soul chose this duality because you were meant to be a bridge, not just between people, but between world perspectives and dimensions of being. This is why you often feel pulled in different directions. One part you longs for stability, while another craves freedom. One part you wants depth, while another delights in variety. At times, this can feel like inner conflict, as if you're betraying yourself no matter which side you choose. But the truth is, both sides are you. Your power comes not from choosing one or the other, but from weaving them together. When you do this, you become whole, and more than that, you become a guide for others who struggle with their own inner contradictions. Imagine duality as a doorway. On one side, you have the seen world, the logical, rational, everyday reality. On the other, the unseen, the mystical, intuitive, hidden layers of existence. Many people get trapped on one side or the other, unable to see across the threshold. But you, Gemini, were born standing in the doorway. You can speak the language of logic and the language of spirit. You can translate mystical insights into everyday words, and you can find magic hidden in the mundane. This is why so many Geminis become writers, teachers, healers, or communicators. You are meant to carry messages across the veil. Take, for example, the story of Serena, a Gemini who worked in the world of science. She loved data, research, and logic, but secretly she also practiced tarot and astrology. For years, she felt divided, afraid that if she revealed her mystical side, she would lose credibility, and if she abandoned, she would betray her soul. When she began embracing her duality, she realized she didn't have to choose. She started writing articles that combined psychology with astrology, using scientific research to explain spiritual principles. Her work reached thousands of people who had been hungry for a bridge between worlds. What once felt like conflict became her calling. Her duality was not her weakness. It was her gift. To awaken this magical ability, you must first stop shaming yourself for being complex. Gemini, you are not meant to be linear or one-dimensional. You are meant to live in paradox. The sooner you embrace this, the sooner your contradictions transform into portals. Instead of, I am either this or that, begin to say, I am both and I am more. This simple shift opens your perception to the multidimensional nature of reality. Meditation on polarity can help deepen this. Sit quietly and bring to mind two sides of yourself that often clash. Perhaps your desire for freedom and your longing for security. Instead of choosing one, imagine them as two dancers in a cosmic dance. See how they move together, how they balance one another, how they create harmony through contrast. Feel in your body that both are necessary, both are valid, both are you. This practice rewires your subconscious to embrace wholeness rather than division. Your duality also allows you to navigate multiple timelines and possibilities. Because you can hold two truths at once, you are less rigid than most. This flexibility makes you a natural visionary. You can imagine different outcomes, sense different paths, and adapt fluidly as reality shifts. What others see as indecision is actually your ability to stand at a crossroads and perceive more than one way forward. With practice, you can learn to use this as a form of multidimensional navigation, tuning into the path that resonates most with your higher self. There is also a mystical layer to your duality, the ability to access both the conscious and subconscious mind with greater ease. Many Geminis are natural lucid dreamers, astral travelers, or channelers because their souls are comfortable existing between states of consciousness. You may notice that your dreams feel more vivid, that you often sense messages in liminal spaces, between waking and sleeping, between silence and sound, between movement and stillness. These are your thresholds, the spaces where magic happens. The more you lean into these in-between states, the more you awaken your esoteric abilities. Of course, with this gift comes the challenge of fragmentation. If you resist integration, you may feel torn apart, as if you're living two lives or wearing too many masks. You may struggle with commitment, fearing that choosing one path means killing the other. This is where shadow work becomes essential. Instead of abandoning parts of yourself, invite them home. Remind yourself, every side of me has wisdom, every contradiction has a lesson, every polarity is a doorway. One practical way to integrate duality is through journaling dialogues with yourself. Write as if two parts of you are having a conversation, the part that wants freedom and the part that longs for stability, the part that seeks lightness and the part that craves depth. Let them speak to each other without judgment. You'll be surprised to find that what feels like conflict often becomes cooperation when given voice. This practice not only heals inner division, but also unlocks insights that come from holding both perspectives at once. Gemini, your duality is your sacred power because it makes you a bridge. You are not here to be confined to one role, one belief system, or one way of being. You are here to remind humanity that truth is not singular but multifaceted, that reality itself is layered, that wisdom comes not from clinging to one side, but from dancing between them. When you embody this, you awaken your role as the messenger, not just of words, but of worlds. So honor your contradictions, Gemini. Do not apologize for your complexity. Celebrate it. For within your duality lies the key to multidimensional wisdom, the magic that allows you to see what others cannot, to translate between the visible and invisible, to remind us all that we are not limited to one story, one truth, or one self. You are the living embodiment of both and that is where your greatest esoteric ability resides. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, the divine messenger, you carry within you a natural ability to connect with the unseen realms. More than any other sign, you are attuned to subtle signals, whispers from beyond, flashes of insight that seem to come from nowhere. What many mistake as mere imagination is often your doorway into the esoteric world of spirit communication. For you, awakening magical powers is not about inventing something new. It is about remembering that you have always been a bridge between visible and invisible worlds. From childhood, you may have noticed this gift. Perhaps you spoke with imaginary friends who felt more real than the adults around you. Perhaps you sensed presences in a room, or dreamed dreams that later echoed in waking life. Maybe you found yourself receiving sudden insights during quiet moments, words forming in your mind that felt both yours and not yours. These are signs of your mediumistic potential, your ability to hear, sense, and translate the voices of spirit. The challenge, of course, is that Gemini's mind is busy, restless, and always searching for stimulation. This makes it difficult to distinguish between the chatter of your own thoughts and the subtle messages of the unseen. But with practice, you can learn to quiet the noise and tune into the frequency of spirit. Imagine yourself as a radio receiver. Most of the time, you're flipping through stations, catching bits of music, static, and conversation. But when you pause, breathe, and focus, you begin to tune into one clear channel. That is how communication with the unseen works. It requires presence, patience, and trust. One of the first steps in awakening this ability is learning the language of spirit. Spirit does not always speak in full sentences or booming voices. More often, messages arrive as symbols, synchronicities, feelings, or subtle nudges. For example, you may keep seeing the same number sequence on clocks and license plates. You may dream of a certain animal, then encounter it the next day in an unexpected context. You may hear a song that seems to answer the very question on your heart. These are not accidents. They are conversations. The universe, your guides, and your higher self are always communicating with you. Your task is to listen. Take the story of Naomi, a Gemini who often dismissed her own intuition as just overthinking. Yet she kept having dreams of butterflies, vivid and detailed. Then, in her waking life, butterflies seemed to follow her, on murals in jewelry, even landing near her during a walk. At first, she thought it was coincidence. But when she finally paused and asked, "What are you trying to tell me?" she felt an overwhelming sense of reassurance, as if a presence was reminding her that transformation was underway. Later, she learned that her grandmother, who had passed, used to collect butterflies. This realization opened her to the truth that her dreams and synchronicities were her grandmother's way of communicating love and guidance from beyond. Gemini, your magical gift is to act as translator. Where others may overlook these signs, you can articulate them, put them into words, and share them with clarity. Spirit speaks in vibration, image, and symbol, but you can convert that into language, a rare and precious skill. This is why so many Geminis become channels, mediums, or healers. Your voice is not just for human ears. It is a vessel for spiritual truth. To develop this gift, create rituals of listening. Each day, set aside a few minutes to sit in stillness, close your eyes, and simply say inwardly, "I am open to guidance. Show me what I need to know." Then notice what arises, perhaps an image, a word, a feeling. Write it down, even if it seems trivial. Over time, patterns will emerge. Spirit communication is not always dramatic. Often, it is quiet and subtle. But when you pay attention, the messages become louder. Another powerful practice is automatic writing. Sit with pen and paper, breathe deeply, and then write a question to your guides or higher self. Without overthinking, begin to write whatever comes through. At first, it may feel like your own thoughts, but with practice, you'll notice shifts in tone, wisdom that surprises you, or insights you could not have known on your own. This is the voice of spirit flowing through you. Yet with such gifts comes responsibility. Gemini's shadow side may tempt you to use this communication frivolously, seeking answers to satisfy curiosity or impress others. But true esoteric communication is sacred. It is not about entertainment. It is about healing, guidance, and connection. The more you approach this work with humility, the more profound your experiences will become. Spirit is drawn to sincerity. When you open your heart, not just your mind, you become a trusted messenger of light. Gemini, remember too that communication is not only about receiving. It is also about expressing. You can speak to your guides, your ancestors, your higher self. You can pour your prayers into the universe, not as desperate pleas, but as conversations with unseen allies. Your words are carried like currents across dimensions. When you speak with reverence, you are not alone. Your voice echoes through realms, and answers return in ways you least expect. For example, David, a Gemini musician, once felt lost in his life. One evening, he sat at his piano and simply asked aloud, "What do I need to know?" As he played, a melody flowed through him, unfamiliar yet beautiful. He recorded it and later shared it at a small gathering. A woman in the audience wept, saying it reminded her of a lullaby her late mother used to sing. In that moment, David realized the song was not just his. It was a message carried through him for someone else. His willingness to open, to listen, and to express allowed spirit to speak through his music. This is the heart of your gift, Gemini. You are a vessel for communication, not just with humans, but with the cosmos itself. You can translate the silence of stars into stories, the whispers of ancestors into wisdom, the nudges of spirit into guidance that touches hearts. To awaken this gift fully, You must trust your connection, even when others dismiss it, even when logic tries to explain it away. For your dual nature makes you uniquely capable of walking both worlds, the rational and the mystical, the seen and the unseen. And when you embrace this, your life shifts. You no longer feel scattered, for your perceptions have a purpose. You no longer feel restless, for you realize you're a part of a great conversation that spans dimensions. You find peace in knowing that you are never alone, that guides walk with you, that the universe speaks with you, and that your soul is forever connected to realms of wisdom and love. Gemini, your magical power is not just in your voice, your perception, or your duality. It is in your role as cosmic communicator. You are the messenger between worlds, the one who reminds us that reality is layered, that love never dies, and that guidance is always available if we listen. When you awaken this gift, you step into your true calling, not just to speak, but to channel the language of the unseen into words that heal, inspire, and transform. Gemini, if there's one gift that defines you above all, it is the gift of the mind. But in its highest form, this is not simply intellect or cleverness. It is thought alchemy, the ability to transform ideas into reality through imagination. This is your fifth hidden magical power, the art of manifestation. Unlike others who may manifest primarily through emotion or action, your path lies in the realm of thought. When you learn to focus your mind, to harness your imagination instead of scattering it, you discover that your thoughts are not just fleeting sparks but spells, current of energy that shape your life. To understand this, let us remember an esoteric truth. Thought is vibration. Every idea you think carries frequency. When repeated, it becomes a current. When aligned with belief and intention, it becomes a force that ripples outward into the unseen, attracting experiences, people, and opportunities that match its vibration. This is why sages across time have said, "As you think, so you become." And for Gemini, whose mind is a kaleidoscope of endless ideas, this truth is both your greatest blessing and your greatest challenge. The blessing is clear. Your imagination is limitless. You can dream possibilities others cannot even conceive. You can see beyond the present moment into potential futures, weaving visions of what could be. This makes you a natural manifester, capable of calling into being realities that seem impossible. But the challenge is just as real, because your thoughts are many. They scatter your energy. One day you envision abundance. The next you fear lack. One moment you affirm love. The next you doubt your worth. The result is fragmented manifestations, pieces of your magic dissolving before they can take form. The key to awakening your power of thought alchemy is focus. Imagine your mind as sunlight. When spread out, it warms but does not burn. When concentrated through a magnifying glass, it ignites fire. Your thoughts are the same. The more you focus them on one clear vision, the more powerful they become. This is why practices like visualization are so potent for you. When you close your eyes and imagine with detail, seeing, hearing, and feeling the reality you desire, you are not just fantasizing. You are aligning your mind with a frequency that magnetizes that reality toward you. Consider the story of Elena, a Gemini who long dreamed of writing a book, but kept telling herself she lacked the discipline. Her mind was full of stories, but they never made it to the page. One day, she began practicing a simple manifestation ritual. Each morning, she visualized herself holding her finished book, feeling its weight, imagining readers thanking her for her words. At first, it felt like a game, but over time, something shifted. She felt inspired to write a little each day. Ideas flowed more easily. Within a year, her book was finished, and not only that, but it was published and reached readers around the world. Elena realized that her imagination had not been idle. It had been a seed, and her focus had allowed it to grow into form. This is how your manifestation works. Gemini, not through brute force, but through vision. Your ideas are magical blueprints. When infused with belief, they become magnets for reality. But belief is crucial. You must guard against the shadow of doubt, which can unravel your spells. The moment you say, "But what if it doesn't work?" you begin scattering energy again. This is why thought discipline is your spiritual training. Just as a musician practices scales or an athlete trains their body, you must practice aligning your thoughts with the frequency of what you wish to create. Affirmations can be powerful tools here, but only if they are felt. Simply repeating, "I am abundant," will not create abundance unless you feel it in your body. The secret is to pair your affirmation with imagination. Speak the words, and then visualize yourself living them. Feel the emotion of already having what you desire. The more senses you engage, the stronger the alchemy. Your gift also lies in storytelling. Every time you tell a story about your life, whether to others or to yourself, you are casting a spell. If you constantly say, "I'm always unlucky in love," or "money never stays with me," you are reinforcing that reality. But if you shift your story, even before evidence appears, you begin reprogramming the field. Say instead, "I am learning to love with depth," or "money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways." Over time, your new story becomes your lived reality. This is why esoteric traditions remind us the words we speak about ourselves are spells, and the stories we repeat become our destiny. Gemini, your imagination also connects you to the collective unconscious, the field of all ideas, archetypes, and possibilities. This means you can channel visions, not only for yourself, but for others. Many Geminis are innovators, inventors, or visionaries precisely because they can pull ideas from this vast field and translate them into form. When you share your visions, you awaken new realities for those around you. Your imagination is not just personal, it is cosmic. But remember, imagination without grounding can become escapism. If you spend all your time dreaming without acting, your magic dissipates. To truly manifest, you must marry thought with action. Even small steps anchor your visions into the physical plane. If you dream of creating art, pick up the brush. If you envision love, open yourself to connection. If you desire abundance, take practical steps toward financial alignment. Your thoughts set the frequency, but your actions solidify the spell. The alchemy of thought also requires purification. Negative thought patterns, self-criticism, cynicism, fear, are like toxins in the cauldron of your mind. They cloud your manifestation, making it harder for your magic to take root. Shadow work, meditation, and mindfulness help cleanse these patterns, making space for clarity. When your mind becomes a clear vessel, your imagination shines like crystal, amplifying your manifestations with incredible power. Consider also the power of collective manifestation. When you share your vision with others and invite them to hold it with you, the energy multiplies. A circle of Gemini speaking their dreams aloud becomes a chorus of spells, each amplifying the other. This is why communities of visionaries are so potent. When minds unite around a shared dream, entire realities shift. As a communicator, you are often the one who can articulate these dreams, rallying others into the vibration of possibility. Gemini, your hidden magical ability is not merely to think, but to create worlds through thought. When you discipline your mind, focus your imagination, and align your words with your vision, you become a master of manifestation. Your restlessness transforms into creativity. Your scattered thoughts crystallize into spells. Your stories become living realities. This is the alchemy of your mind, the power to turn air into form, thought into matter, imagination into destiny. So do not dismiss your ideas as fleeting or unimportant. They are seeds of magic. Nurture them, speak them, believe in them, anchor them with action. For within your mind lies a cauldron of infinite potential, waiting only for your focus to ignite it into flame. This is your path to wholeness, Gemini, not to escape your mind, but to master it, to transform it into the sacred tool it was always meant to be. Gemini, we have walked together through the gateways of your hidden powers, the gift of perception that sees patterns others overlook, the voice that casts spells of truth and transformation, the duality that opens you to multidimensional wisdom, the ability to communicate with unseen realms, and the alchemy of thought that turns imagination into reality. Each of these is a thread in the tapestry of your magic. Alone, they shimmer. Together, they weave a cloak of wholeness, a garment of power that is uniquely yours. The journey of awakening these abilities is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering. You were born with these gifts. They may have been hidden under layers of doubt, distraction, or fear, but they never left you. They have always whispered in dreams, in synchronicities, in the restless pull of your soul towards something greater. To step into your power is to listen, to honor, and to practice. It is to transform your contradictions into portals, your words into healing, your mind into magic. Remember, wholeness does not mean perfection. It means embracing all of you, the playful and the serious, the grounded and the restless, the rational and the mystical. When you stop fragmenting yourself, you become a vessel strong enough to carry the current of your own magic. And when you embody that, you become a mirror for others, showing them that their hidden powers too can be awakened. So, Gemini, walk forward knowing that you are not just a seeker of wisdom. You are its messenger, its translator, its embodiment. The universe speaks through you. And when you align with your truth, your life becomes a living spell, a radiant expression of the unseen woven into the seen. If this message resonated with you, share your reflections below. Your story, your voice, your truth is part of the circle. Like and subscribe to stay connected to the space of healing and awakening, where together we remember the ancient wisdom carried in our souls. For your magic is not only for you, it is for the world, and the world is waiting.